Right, hello everybody. So the title of this talk is Soft, Hard or Dirty, the pornography of extraction on the Irish border. But seriously, I think there's something about extractivism and how we have objectified the land, the air and the water in Northern Ireland. And I want to talk a little bit about extractive mentalities, picking up on the last few presentations. I was going to talk about the loss of jurisprudence around the circular economy, the polluter pays, precautionary principle, but my colleagues have already spoken about that. There's something strange happening in the border, and the border is a place, and I think when we talk about the free movement of people, which I think will be maintained, we need also to talk about the free movement of air, the free movement of water, the free movement of wildlife. And I think in all this debate we've forgotten that the border is a very contested area and it's a vector for environmental damage at the moment. What got me on to thinking about this was George Hamilton, the Chief Constable, this week saying that in an interview with Mark Davenport, the border will be exploited by organised criminals. It already is exploited. Danny Kennedy, MLA, ex-MLA I think, Danny, said in the Belfast Telegraph a few years ago, they're dumping the diesel, not quite the diesel, but the contaminants associated with toxic diesel laundering in the same place where they dump the bodies. And I think a question we need to ask ourselves about the conflict or the war in Ireland is, what did it really mask? And I think from an environmental perspective, the Good Friday Agreement missed a trick. It didn't talk about sustainability, didn't talk about shared resource use, didn't talk about pollution, didn't talk about participatory democracy and sustainability being the same thing. And if we look at the Irish border, we see a trend in the last few years of existing exploitation to do with oil and gas licenses. Leo Varadkar, when he was interviewed in Spotlight last week, talked about the A5 road. This is the only road going from two villages, which is a motorway in Ireland, from new buildings to Auchnacloy. So why is this a totem, why is this a trope of the type of border we want to see in the future? The existing border is festooned with illegal quarries, illegal mines, already mentioned illegal fuel dumping. The ports of Derry and Warren Point export lots of waste across the world to incineration. So something has happened, and I think to illustrate this mindset, I think it's really interesting to look at fracking and what Tamboran proposed for Fermanagh, because they looked at the likely to be the only viable drilling area for Tamboran, the fracking company, and hey ho, the only viable area was right on the Irish border. And what does that tell you about the mindset of playing off one jurisdiction against another? The mindset of using borders as vectors for exploitation and extractivism. And they also very embarrassingly put the border in the north being orange, and their mineral license in the south conveniently being green as well. And I think that was a very deliberate strategy by probably one of the most extractive industries that our planet has seen, the fracking industry. The initial site that was selected was dead on the Irish border. And we looked at a lot of unauthorised quarries and mines. I know colleagues of Tanya from Fermanagh, like Ciarán McLean, are valiant in advocating for protection of beautiful habitats and anti-mining. And then we look at Tellus Border, the GSNI project. Tellus, I think, is a Roman god for the earth. Tamboran was an Indonesian site for prayer and mysticism. They steal our language as well as they're stealing our land. And this is on the GSNI website at the minute. Regulation will be kept to a minimum. We have streamlined administrative procedures. We have great opportunities for mineral exploration. And if you look at other statements from their website in terms of gold, South East County Down, County Armagh, the Tyrone Igneous Complex, all these are border areas ready for exploitation. And although we don't have rare earth metals exploited in Northern Ireland at the minute, look at the areas they're identifying for further extraction and prospecting licenses, the Mourne Mountains, East Tyrone, etc. I'm sorry, Tanya, I haven't showed the licenses for diamonds in Fermanagh, but look at what Dalradian got recently. Look at what's happening in South Armagh in terms of gold licenses being issued. Look at what's happened with the coal industry, as Nicola said, in terms of going for growth. Big concentrations on the Irish border in relation to aerial emissions, water emissions, things we're not managing at the moment. So I think we need a big idea for the border. Every border needs a big idea to redress the ecocide that's happening along the Irish border at the minute. And yes, we can have all these committees and all this new procedures around environmental governance. We want to see an independent environmental protection agency. We need an environmental audit committee. But we need a big idea. And I'm passing it over to John Barry and the Green Foundation Ireland. Let's rewild the Irish border. Instead of a place of extraction, of exploitation, let's look at what's happened in Africa with these trans-frontier rewilding projects where countries that have been in conflict can see that maybe the solution in the future is shared resource use, sharing power, looking at nature, looking at communities to see how we can redress years of imbalance and redress years of exploitation. And we have the Black Pig's Dyke, the ancient Irish border between north and south. And I would like to propose to you that we rewild the Black Pig's Dyke. The problem is that when they talk about special status, in my opinion, it'll be a sacrifice zone. It will be another vector for pollution. And we need to be very careful that simplified planning zones, economic liberalisation zones, deregulation agenda doesn't infect this debate. Because like the peace process, the shock doctrine has been environmental degradation. And I think we're on the cusp of seeing something similar in relation to the Irish border. So let's think about a big idea. Every border needs one. And I propose the rewilding of the Irish border. Thank you very much.